Hello everyone, it's me Elvison here from the Vlog Academy, and I'm here today with our first live lounge. I've been doing interviews in person with people who have come in to give inspirational talks and advice and little top tips, mainly for business women on the iStorm page. But now, of course, I can't meet people face to face. So I am trying out this new concept of meeting through a live talk online. And I'm really excited about this, and I hope it's going to work. And my aim is to do this weekly from now on Thursdays at 11 o'clock, locking me into a day and time here. So very exciting in these peculiar times that we are finding ourselves in, when we do need to just think a little bit more creatively and manage things as much as possible. And of course, I'm here to support people who want to take their things online. A lot of people are finding themselves in a situation now where they're very worried about businesses and how to get through the next few weeks or even months. So if you are thinking about going online, then I am here to support you. But today I've invited someone who is absolutely on top of getting your thing right, and it's Lucy Whittington. And Lucy, she's an author, and she's actually written the book Find Your Thing, and I love that title. And as you know, who are following me, I'm very much about doing what you're passionate about and what you really feel that you're aligned with, because it's just going to be helpful for you when you go out on a bigger scale, and it's going to help you stay in the game for longer when you're doing something that you really feel for. And Lucy knows how you can find these things. And today we are going to talk about how you can take your thing online, even if you're not quite sure what it is just yet. So hi Lucy, welcome to the Live Lounge.
Hi me, thanks for inviting me. I bought a prop, look, I went and dug out.
Perfect.
Yeah, so yeah, Find Your Thing is, I wrote the book actually 5 years ago now that the book came out. And I'd actually written the book after spending quite a few years helping people with their thing as well. So yeah, I forget how long it's been that I've been doing my thing.
Time flies when you're having fun. So tell us a little bit more just about you quickly. What is it that you do now when you're not writing your book?
So my background's in marketing. My proper job that I've always had is in marketing, and that's broadened out to be business strategy as well and growth. I'm not a marketeer who just does their little bit of marketing. I like to see how that impacts a whole business. So I'm often found helping business owners with ideas for growth, getting clear on what they do that's brilliant, obviously their thing, but then how to take that to market, the marketing, the positioning, the pricing, go-to-market strategy and growing, things like that. So my background's very much in business marketing. I worked in software marketing for a long time, and business-to-business marketing is very much my bag. So I also do that as well as a consultant, but I love helping people. For me, once someone's worked out what their thing is, it becomes a whole lot easier to market it, because then they're really connected to it and they're really engaged to it. So rather than just marketing anything, I prefer to help people to market their thing.
Can you define a thing then a little bit more, just so we understand what does that actually mean to you and to the people you work with?
So to me, when you're doing your thing, most people will know when they're not doing their thing. That's often the easiest way to ask that question. If you're doing work that you don't enjoy, or it's a chore for you, you don't look forward to it, you don't feel engaged. If time drags when you're working, that's usually because you're not doing your thing. Now, just to caveat that, a lot of us who run our own business, there is some stuff you have to do that isn't, exciting all of the time, the admin side of things perhaps. But when you're doing what you're brilliant at, you find it really easy, it just flows. It's all that kind of stuff where you feel in your zone and time disappears. That's when you know you're doing your thing. So in more practical terms, it's a thing that you find really easy, you love doing, but people also value and they will pay you for. That's obviously quite important as well if it's going to be part of doing your thing and running a business. It's not just something that you love, it's also something that has a value attached to it and other people will pay for.
So do you think that everyone has their thing?
Everyone has a thing, whether they're doing it or not, is different. Some people find that a slice of what they're doing now is their thing. So they might have qualified in something and they do everything to do with that, but they haven't realised that it's just one bit of that they really in flow with. And for whatever reason, they haven't narrowed down to just do that thing. Sometimes it's because they think they can't just do that piece and they have to offer everything that they're qualified for. And sometimes it's something that they've just learned how to do over time and they're not qualified in it. And often that's something that stops people from doing it. Now, I'm not suggesting, you can't go out and be a brain surgeon if you're not qualified and things like that. But quite often, a lot of us who've run our own business for a long time or even just worked for a long time have brought together our experience. Maybe it's wrapped in qualifications as well, but it's just how we see the world and what we do and our solutions to problems that we've solved our way that actually have huge value to other people. So that can sometimes stop people from doing their thing as well, because they feel they're not qualified in that. The irony being they might have been doing it for 10 years, 20 years, but they just don't have that bit of paper. That in many cases isn't necessary, as long as you don't pretend you're qualified in something you're not. So.
True. And do you have a process for finding your thing or to hone in on it at all?
Yeah, so for me, there's two sides of the same coin that help you really identify what your thing is. So the one side I've talked about already, which is what you find really easy. So, what do you find really easy? What do you just get on and do? What would be the task if you've got a whole to-do list you would pick out to do first because you find it really easy? And the other side to that coin is what really annoys you. Often it's hard to see what we find really easy because we just do it. So we've somewhere along the line filed it under common sense. So to us, it's common sense that you would just do things this way or in that order, or use these tools or go about it in this manner. So often that's hard to spot because it's become part of our own way of being, and it's become easy for us because it's our common sense that we've just evolved. Sometimes we forget that other people don't see the world the way that we do or solve problems the way that we do. So an easier way sometimes to see your thing is to look at what annoys you, because it's probably annoying you because you can see an easier way of doing it. So if you look at a market or a way that some work's done, or a product that solves a problem, and you think, that doesn't have to be that expensive or take that long or be that complicated, etc., because you know that there's an easier way. So often it's where you get annoyed by things because you can see an easier way of doing it, or an easier answer, or an easier solution, a product. That helps you see what your thing is, because your annoyance is quite often triggered because you see the easy.
That's an interesting point of view, actually. I haven't thought about it that way, because usually when you're annoyed by something, we feel that that's because we have restrictions towards it and it's not our thing. So that's a really, really good piece of advice, actually, to look at that, because often, of course, for me, in my case, it would be technology or microphones or software or getting things connected. And I'm just thinking there must be an easier way to do this by now.
Yeah.
So it's but then of course, depending on what it is, maybe you can't go out and design a new app that easily, and that's where we kind of stop short of.
Of course. And it's not always something that you can do, but it could be something that you could teach or you could research, or it's often looking for clues. Often with our thing, another way to think about what is my thing is to notice what people already come to you for. So you may be able to ask people, whether that's colleagues or clients or just people who know you really well. And you have to be careful with this one, because it may not be literal, but it may be something that you do. So you may be the person who can really easily explain complicated processes to people. It could be that people come to you maybe for like tech support. It might not be, you might be going, I do not want to work in tech support, but maybe it's just how you're able to break things down, or how you're able to look at a range of options and focus on which one solves the best problem, but for that person. So So think about what people already come to you for. Is it to be the person who explains things or solves things or plans things or, you know, works things out or organizes people or looks after people? So this may not be your literal thing. I think this is where people get worried because they're like, well, I don't want to do that for a job, you know, or for business. I don't want people coming to me to organize, you know, why do I organize every party? I don't want to do that. But think about it in terms of, well, what is it that I do? Is it that I can break the task down and be really clear and, you know, understand people who work well together and almost put teams together? It could be a different way of using that skill that people already come to you for, just not in the way that they currently come to you for it. Or it could be literal, but just that one's always a caveat because people go, oh, I don't want to do that.
Well, we all know that we have the people, the go-to people who we look to, even if it's not their business or job or expertise,
Exactly.
even that they've called on. But we know that there are some people who, oh, she's got the brain for this, I'm just going to ask that person, and you get a quicker response. If they don't know it, they will find out for you where you might be completely stuck. So Lucy, we're finding ourselves in very peculiar times at the moment, of course, and many people are really worried because it's hard to continue working the way they've done. Some people absolutely can't continue. Can you see the reflection on my necklace here?
Yeah.
It's really sparkly, which is good. I like that. So what we were going to talk about here, which is what I'm supporting people with now, is if they have a thing, how to take it online. So this is something I believe everyone who has an expertise or doing something can do. There's so many things we can do online now, and we've seen an absolute explosion, which I'm loving. It can be a bit overwhelming, but just over the last few days, the things you see people do, it's ballet classes, Pilates classes, cooking, drawing, sewing classes. A friend of mine, they actually organized a bar mitzvah online with the whole family and people all over the world. So we can do so many things online, but there will be people out there who are feeling, I don't know how to do that. I don't have anything that I can take online. Do you have any recommendations for those?
So obviously the first thing to do is, if you've got a face-to-face service that you can just switch to being online, you know, don't worry about that at the moment. Don't think people aren't going to accept that. In fact, you've been given a huge opportunity and license to, there is no choice now. I think before, a lot of people have a service-based business where they advise or they work or they train people or you teach something or you know, consult with people. It's been on a lot of people's to-do list for a long time to move that online, so that for whatever reason, whether it's cheaper or saves on travel or, you know, allows them to be location independent, it's been on a lot of people's to-do list for a long time. And now, because there is no choice, you're not going to get a lot of resistance from your market. So while it may be a learning curve, it also allows you a little bit of leeway as well. I think people are very forgiving and understanding. You know, I gave my son's tutor, he's doing his 11+ exam, and he has a tutor every week. I gave her a crash course in Zoom, and she was off in like 20 minutes, and she's done all her sessions this week on Zoom. And she thought about it before, but never needed to do that. And, you know, the same, my daughter's music lessons, her piano and her guitar lessons, they've just gone straight online. And so that, I know that's a very easy option, even if people are like, well, tech's not easy. There are so many people who use Zoom all the time, I see them on Facebook all the time, and, you know, offering help and free classes. Just get someone who you know uses it to offer to do that, especially if they've got I had a motive for helping my son's tutor to use Zoom, because I'm like, I want him to carry on, please. And so, you know, I had the incentive for that. But there are so many people willing to help, and people will be forgiving. So if you have got a service that you know you can straight swap for being in person, just, you know, now you've got the massive opportunity and an appreciative and understanding audience who will allow you to do that. You know, I know of people who, you know, run big trainings for corporates, and they've switched everything online. You know, they're running big training groups, getting people together. Everyone's okay with that at the moment because they know it's the only option. Now, the difference is going to be if you have something that maybe it was more of a hands-on service, you feel you can't offer that. You may have to switch to other things that you may have to switch to your knowledge and create courses or teaching or do over the shoulder, here's how you can do this and I'll watch you do it because I can't be there to do it for you. Let me be there with you while you do it. So if you have something that falls into that category, it could be that you can, offer other advice that you learned. Say you offered massage, you studied, you studied how the body works. You can give people advice. You can show them some techniques. You could teach them about other things you've learned in your training. Maybe there's other information that you can share. I know a lot of personal trainers have gone online, and obviously that's good because they can teach classes, but they can still do one-to-one sessions, and correct your posture. If you know that you're not someone who, if you do the yoga class, you will get the positions wrong or something, you can still do that one-to-one. I think there's a lot of opportunity to distill your knowledge as well. If you just can't do that one-to-one service anymore or one-to-many, maybe now's the time to distill your knowledge into an online course, and don't think that has to be you talking to camera. We're using Zoom at the moment. Well, I'm using Zoom to run my whole life at the moment, but we're using Zoom to do this live, and you can easily make videos where you just do the voiceover and share your screen of some PowerPoint slides or just some photos and talk over them. So if you're worried about being on camera, I know that's me's department, but that's your thing. But, even if you're nervous about that and you just want to do voiceover courses, bring your knowledge to people that want it. You can still do training stuff. You can set up, virtual office environments. There's lots you can do that don't involve you necessarily being live with people as if you were in the room before. So think about all that information you have stored away. If you have clients that you have the same conversation with, or you explain the same things to them each time, that's crying out to be made into videos. Whether they're you demonstrating or talking, whether they're you just, talking over information or slides or things you can put together. There's lots of things you can do to translate that. And if you have a product, obviously if that's not already available online, now's the time to get online sales organized for that. But also think about offering extra things to go with that product, how people can create different experiences using that product, different ways it can be used, create videos and content around that. There's lots you can do that maybe people aren't going to buy what you're doing right now. So this is a great opportunity to educate them, keep them engaged, create marketing collateral. If you can't take your business literally online to sell things right now, then now's a good opportunity to take your marketing online. Now, I appreciate you might still need to make some money, so we can talk about, finding other things and seeing what else you can create in the meantime. But if you want to come back to your main business, and there's just no way you can deliver what you do right now, just create some marketing and content. Maybe you offer, you're a carpenter or, you're a gardener and you can't come out and do that physical work right now. You can make some videos around how to care for things, how to look after things, how to manage things while you're not able to deliver it. That will keep your content alive and engage with your audience. There's a lot of restaurants that can't go, run their business right now, but they could be sharing, the chef could do some recipes at home, and that keeps you engaged with that restaurant and that cafe. Here's how to try and create your barista coffee at home because you can't get to your favorite cafe. Or here's what we put in our toasties, or our secret tip of, what garnishes go well with things. Just things to keep your audience engaged. Use that for your marketing so that they're still with you if you can't sell things at the same time. So the restaurant cafe example is a good one because a lot of them are switching to doing delivery, or we've got a lovely bakery, patisserie at the end of the road, which is doing takeaway, but also has now started offering delivery. So that wasn't something that they did before, unless it was for outside catering. But they've thought, okay, what do we have? We have, you know, our vans, but then they're making sure they're on Facebook telling us that. They're making sure they're making little videos and showing us what they're doing in the meantime. So even if you can't take what you sell online, you know, I can't buy a cake from them. And I'm not even going to try and make them as well as they do. But, you know, they've still taken their business online a lot more, because that's where they're engaging with their audience, because that's where they know we are at the moment.
Brilliant, brilliant advice. I love it. There's so much we can do. And of course, if you have any expertise whatsoever, you can always go out there, and it's a good time, as you say, to just stay afloat and position yourself as the go-to expert in your field, which is my service really, to help you do that. And people are listening to experts now. We've started doing that over the last few years already. So we want knowledge, we want to listen to people, we want to see people talk, and when you do it in person, it also creates more credibility and trust for the brand in general. So when we are through this period, whatever time, whatever it's going to be, you will come out on the other side, and then when people actually need your services directly, more face to face, then you are still top of mind, you're still there, and you could actually come out in a better position than you were before, if we just try and stay calm and embrace what we can. Do you think there's an urgency for people to go out now, or what's the time frame for not disappearing in the noise that is now starting to?
I think it's really important that if you run a business, the first thing that you need to think about in any business is your customers. You know, what do they need? What do they want? How can you help them? So if you haven't done this already, you know, depending on the numbers, obviously, you know, either call all your customers, or email them personally, or survey them if you've got thousands of them. But start, you know, if you haven't already engaged with your customers, and I don't mean just put out a standard, you know, we're now shut, you can't buy from us, or this sort of thing. Like, start telling the story, talk to them about what you're doing. If you have a business that can carry on selling, ask them what they want and they need right now. It may be different to what you're currently offering. It may be that they want what you normally sell them, but is there a way of delivering that for less money? So that might be something you need to look at. What reduced service can you offer? It may be that they need, you know, more from you right now, because they've always, you know, just thought, oh, I need to engage with this, but now I really need this help. I've had to go online. I've had to sort my tech out. I've had to do these things differently. So if you haven't asked your customers yet what they want and what they need, that's the first thing to do, because then that will help you respond into what you then create online. If your current customers don't want or can't buy from you right now, then you've got some options. You can either think, okay, is there a market that does want what I do, that I don't have to change what my thing is? I can just go take it to a different market. You know, what if you work with businesses? Some businesses have, you know, a huge surge in demand. You know, if you're running a supermarket or a food business at the moment, you've had a huge surge in demand. A lot of manufacturing companies and medical companies who are helping to support, you know, the response to this have had a huge surge in demand. It could be that you can change your current market to a market that is in need of assistance and help right now. And if you can't, then I suggest, you know, you run things in parallel. You say, look, this is my thing. This is what I will be doing again when, you know, we're out the other side of this. So maintain the marketing, let your customers know what you're doing, you know, share some advice, create content, whatever you think is helpful to them in the meantime. You know, it could be simple things like, you know, if you're a hairdresser or a nail technician, show people how to look after their nails and their hair at home. I'm pleased we're doing this video, only, you know, I haven't quite hit tragic roots stage yet, but I'm already thinking about that. But, you know, it's going to
reveal who are the true blondes, that's for sure.
I'm quite happy to say I'm not.
I'm curious, what happens with people who have shellac and fake nails?
Like,
what's going to happen?
Salon, but you can show people how to work with that at home. You can show them different styles they can try. You know, these are things that will make people, I mean, that seems a frivolous one, but there are other, you know, there are other important things to do that you can share with people. So if you've decided to run, you know, your marketing while you need to create something else to sell online, that's fine. The key thing for me there, and I'm a marketeer, so I would say this, is to tell the story of what you're doing. don't confuse people by suddenly starting something else. It's absolutely fine, and people will understand it if you just say to them, okay, so I can't be doing this right now, but I'm also trained in this, or I've actually spent 10 years doing this in my own business, so I'm going to offer this service for now because I can, but I'm just going to keep talking to you about my expertise over here because I can't sell that right now, but that is what I'm actually brilliant at. So in that sense, if you've got a thing that you just can't sell right now, think about other things that have made you really good at doing your thing. You know, go back to that. Am I really good with tech? You know, have I been really good at setting up my own tech and sussing out how things work in my own business? Could I just go and do that for other people right now? Am I great at organizing things? Am I great at managing teams? You know, am I really good at hiring people? Do I write great briefs? Am I actually really good at my own marketing? You know, on my own social media? Could I just go and do that for someone else right now while I can't sell my own products or services, but I could just create an offer right now that I can do online, that I can either do for people, teach people, you know, create that course. And as long as you tell the story around why you're doing that now, I think it's absolutely fine to sell something that is something that you do that helps you do your thing, but maybe isn't your thing. I think that's something else as well. It's fine to do that. You know, we're not all pretending we can all carry on with business as usual, but if you've got something of value and you've got something that's a great skill and you still find really easy, but maybe it's been part of you doing your thing, maybe a more practical side of it, then why not put an offer together around that and go out and take that offer online to do with people. And again, this goes back to what I was saying at the beginning. If all your qualification you have is you've been doing it yourself for 5 years or 10 years, that's absolutely fine, because if someone's had no experience of doing that, they'd probably be more than happy to work with someone who've been doing it themselves for 5 years, especially if you can demonstrate the results or, you know, explain the detail you go into when you research new software or whatever it is that you do. You know, as long as you're not pretending you're qualified in that and you just tell the story and you're really transparent about it and why you want to offer this as a service right now, I think it's absolutely fine to have, you know, an interim thing that you want to take online and sell that runs parallel along your business, which may have to be moved to marketing only.
Absolutely. I mean, how often do we actually ask for credentials and qualifications? What we want is proof. We want to have the trust for the people. We want to see, you know, the success stories or see how it's worked. And then that's what we're going to buy into eventually when we do make the choice who we are going to trust, and then how we resonate with people as well. I think that's more important than most things. Yeah. You want to feel that, oh, I like this person, I can work with them, I believe that they can see what I need and take me to where I want to be. So it's really, really good to just have a feel, as you say, what is it that works for you that you could support other people with.
And if it's going to be a new thing, my advice to that would always be, you know, find a handful of friendly, you know, business owners that you know, or other people in your market, maybe they're current customers that you can go to and say, look, I'm going to put this package together. I know it's not what I normally do. And maybe get them to try it with either for free or for a low cost to get some testimonials. If it is something brand new to you, you know, as Misha said, we don't always look for credentials, we look for proof. So if you can quickly establish that you can do this for people, maybe offer a quick consultation or a quick fix for a handful of people that you know, either paid or unpaid, just so that you can establish your credibility in what you want to take online, just go ahead and do that, you know.
Yeah.
And
I also
get going.
Absolutely. And we mustn't think that business is stopping, and people do spend money still. And it might be small things, you know, that they say in tough times, women will still buy lipsticks. That's the smallest thing that can cheer up our day. And sometimes it is about color, it's about form and shape and creativity. And people want to have just have a little sanctuary of wellness and beauty and color. So if it's someone who is in design and a creative person, you might not have the time normally to do that because you're busy going into work every day. Maybe that's a brand new opportunity for you to just start doing more colorful things and invite people to an environment where they can just get a little break from everything else. So there is a lot of things out there to do and to share to keep people just sane in the end. Yeah. And also we want our communities. We can see that people are joining groups, we're joining business communities, we're joining personal communities, and we will be more dependent on our online communication with people now. So putting groups together, and it could be support or advice groups as well, or masterminds, is something else that everyone can do, even if you're not selling a product, just to support people in general who find that you can give them comfort. Yep. Soothe anxiety. A lot of people are very anxious at the moment, of course, as well. So for coaches who have that expertise, but maybe you haven't got a service package ready, there's a big need for that now as well. So Lucy, would you, if you had 3 top tips for people at the moment, what would they be? Do you have anything you can recommend?
I do. So the first thing, and I've said this one already, the first tip is, if you haven't already spoken to, called, surveyed, whatever you've needed to do, all of your current customers, that's the first thing to do. And if you can extend that to, if you have a list of prospective customers that you email or are in contact with regularly, or even on social media, if you haven't asked the question yet, what do you need help with right now? How can I help you? What are your current challenges? Do that. That's the first tip, because that's going to give you a really good indication as to whether you can help directly, or you need to change how you can help. Or even if it's, putting them in touch with other people that can help, and just maintaining that goodwill if it's something that you just can't help with. So that's my first tip, is ask what people need help with. And then the second one would be, see what you can immediately take online. What can you immediately replace with, this used to be in person, I can now take it online. If you used to consult or teach or share information, whatever it was that you did before you couldn't do it in person, what can you immediately take online? And just start doing that. Like I said, I don't think you're not going to find a more receptive time for people to just say, yeah, and see whether you can take that to your existing customers, or whether you just need to do exactly what you were doing, but just switch customers. And if you do have to switch customers, just find people who are already talking to those customers. So don't think you have to start from scratch, working out who they are and where they are. Just go and find other people who already, work with that community or that market, and go to them and say, look, I have this, can I help? I know you do this, I do this, but I know it's going to help this market right now. Can you help me to promote it? And figure out a joint venture, introduction, whatever you need to do there. That's going to be the best way to do it. And the last one is, just be very clear throughout all of this about who you are, what's your thing, what are your brand values, just carry on being you. That sounds ridiculous. But I think it's, all of us have a personal brand, whether we like it or not. All of us, we stand for something. And if you can't do your thing right now, you can still be integrity with your brand values, who you are, how you show up. Even if you go off and do something else, tell that story about why you're doing it. But whatever you decide to do, wherever you decide to take your thing, or whether you have to park it or do something else, just bring your brand values and who you are with what you're going to do next.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. That's really, really helpful, Lucy. I'm going to ask you a question which I was supposed to ask you first of all, but we just went straight into it. We are so business minded. I just wanted to see how are you doing? How are you coping just in your space and your family and home? How is it going for you?
It's funny, I explained it to someone yesterday as normal, not normal. Because I work at home anyway. So my husband and I both work at home. We have our own offices at home. We have done since before we had the children. One of them's a teenager now. So So it's kind of normal, not normal for me. I know for a lot of people working at home and working online has been a huge adjustment, where it's kind of how I've worked for a really long time. You know, given half the chance, I'd always rather have a Zoom meeting than have to travel. So, you know, I've had online products. I mean, I even started with audio only products when I used to record things on teleseminars, and then I've moved into online video. And so for me, life's normal, not normal. Obviously, I'm not used to the whole homeschooling thing. So I've got a 10-year-old and a 13-year-old, and actually they've been amazing and they have got on with their work. Yesterday, I'm not sure whether this is a ruse, but one of my son's homeworks for maths was to make a cake and measure out all the ingredients, which I'm sure I had to double check that was actually true, and he wasn't just after making a cake. But you know, it's funny. It's made us focus. I'm very, very fortunate. Like you, I live at the seaside, although I can be cheeky and say I live near a proper beach. And we have miles of sand, but you know, I'm able to walk on my daily, you know, outing to the beach and to be by the water, which is incredible. And it's actually made me go out every day. So actually it's been really nice because I've been out with the children and actually had conversations. For those of you who have a teenager and a non-teenager, I've done 2 loops and done it separately with each child on occasion. But you know, yesterday, you know, one of them was playing in the garden, and you know, it's just made us very mindful of, you know, what makes up a good day of activities. I think, you know, time to do your thing, time to do some work, time outside, time exercising. I think it's just brought everything into focus, actually. So I think from a business context, you're very aware of the time you're spending at work. So I'm very aware of the time I'm spending in my office. Doing work, the same as the children are doing their schoolwork. And I think it just makes you more focused. What do you want to do with that time? What outcomes do you want from it? And also being okay that you don't have to work all the time. You know, it's important to just do things that more than ever you engage with, you enjoy. You know, it's you know, you talked about people coaching through anxiety and things like that, and one of the things is to very much engage with activities that you enjoy and that lift you up. So I think that just brings that into a clearer focus for me.
Fabulous. Well, it's good to hear that you're coping fairly well. That's good. Yeah, I'm in a similar situation. I'm either working from home already and online a lot, and I've got my product, or I'm out filming, which of course has stopped now, but it's not that massive of a change. But the change is also to just keep sane, I feel, and manage that and keep your habits and your, if you have rituals, but all these things that just makes you stay normal really at the moment. And I think it will be a bit of a flurry. I felt a bit, you know, my brain just felt really frazzled yesterday, and don't feel that you need to rush through things then and push things, but look after yourself, or it's just not going to work otherwise anyway. It's not going to be a good outcome if you try and press things too much. So we've got to allow ourselves to be a bit more still, or to move in a slightly different way through this period. And I think it's hopefully going to settle. People are going to find their balance and routines a little bit, unless everything goes pear-shaped, but I don't think it will be. I think that it's going to stabilize, and then we'll be back to normal eventually. Okay, well, thank you so much, Lucy. It was great fun to chat to you as well, and have this first live lounge with you. That was a really, really supportive and helpful talk, bang on topic what people actually need to hear more about, and encourage people to keep going. So that's absolutely fabulous. How can people find you if they want to reach out to you?
Well, I'm not going anywhere at the moment. So off my daily walk. So there's a few places you can find me. If you just go to lucywhittington.com, it has links off to the things that I do. So I run massively fortuitously / ironically, I launched an online networking with my very good friend Rachel just before everything went online. We're running it's called The Broadroom, and we ran a series last week on uncertain business. So we've covered lots and lots of topics that might be useful. So there's also The Broadroom with an R in it. broadroom.co.uk. But yeah, if you go to lucywhittington.com, it sends you off in various directions, and I spend far too much time on Facebook, so you can find me on there, and LinkedIn if I'm pretending to be a bit more professional about things. I'm also on LinkedIn.
I'm sure you're professional about things all the time. And show us your thing.
My thing, my book. There
Finding Your Thing, and I'm sure we can order that online as well at the moment.
Or email me and I can send some out in the post.
Fabulous. I love the look of that book as well. It's great. All right. Well, I'm going to let you get back to your family and work. And this recording will be, or this live will be recorded rather, and it will be on the iStorm YouTube channel. So if you want to watch it again, it will both stay in this on this page. Obviously, if you're watching this now, you've seen it. But if you want to watch it again or share it, it will be available. And next week, I'm going to have another live lounge with a magnificent person. So thank you so much, Lucy. And we'll stay in touch, but look after yourself, stay safe and sane.
Thank you, Mee.
Thank you. See you soon. Lots of love. Bye, everyone. And thank you for listening in. If you have questions, we haven't actually really taken any questions. If you do have any questions, of course, just put them in the comment box below. I take that for granted now when you do a live that people will just know to put questions in the comment box and say hello and all of that. But I should have mentioned that. So for anyone who has any comments on this, on finding your thing and taking it online, please just share your comment. Both Lucy and I will check in on you. Thank you both, says Elizabeth. Thank you for watching. Morning, Judith. Nice to see you here. And that's it for today. And I will see you next time. Next week, 11 a.m. in the live lounge. Bye for now. Take care.